Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. This is Luciana Turner, the LT&A company, the Chief Compliance Officer and Chief Strategist, bringing you this morning's edition of Morning Tidbit. And I thought I would today define compliance. Now, as you enter the room, please post a comment, leave a name so I can acknowledge you. If you're catching this by the replay, hashtag replay, so I can acknowledge you stop by. But compliance is the adherence to prevailing laws in which you are bound to operate in. If you are an accountant, you have the rules and regulations of your CPA designation. You have the rules and regulations of the National Accounting Board. I know that's not the full name, but I can't think of it right now. You have the rules and regulations of your state, and you have the rules and regulations of the federal government. And that applies to whatever industry across the board. If you're in government contracting, in addition to all of those other things I listed, you are now bound by CAS, FAR. Now, if you have more work with the civilian agencies, then you're not bound by FAR, but you are bound by the GAP and you are bound by CAS regardless. And if you do work with the legislative branch, who actually have the rules governed by the Sergeant of Arms, I can't think of the full name of the rules. I'm gonna have to find them and post the link. But yes, so being in compliance means that you are following these rules and regulations. A compliance audit is where an auditor comes in and goes through your policy, procedures, and systems to determine that you are following the rules and regulations applicable to you. And if your systems are set up properly, if you have policies and procedures, and if you don't, you need to start getting them. A compliance review should be simple. You should be able to just run through it, a couple of days time, and go on. A full out multi-step compliance audit will take longer. However, if you have everything in place and you're operating in a compliant manner, it still shouldn't take that long. Now, length of time is determined by the size of your organization and the scope of audit, and that I'm not getting into that this morning. I just want you to be aware of what is compliance and what a compliant organization should be and what it should look like. And one of the keys to compliance is having those policies and procedures in place. Even if you're a one person show, this may sound crazy, you still should have policies and procedures because you should be able to continuously do the same thing in the same manner each time you do it, no matter what. And if you're like most humans, because you're doing so many other things, you may forget how you treated this situation. or this circumstance. So when it comes through again, you might do something different, yielding a different result, trying to figure out why. So even as a solopreneur, I would say you should have written and documented how you intend to handle certain situations. That way you have a somewhat predictable result. Your clients know what an expectation is when something should arise. You have an expectation of how you handle yourself when something arrives. It alleviates stress of trying to make it up as you go along because you have fully thought about it. And if you have a board of advisors, I didn't say a board of directors, I said a board of advisors that you can go to with these ideas, then it helps you in the long run to have pre planned all of these things. So, I'm going to end the conversation there. I just wanted to give you something to think about. Tomorrow, I will pick up on this thought about a board of advisors and how that looks to me, and what I would recommend to anybody who is in business who is actually operating a compliance business. So until tomorrow morning, be strategic, operate in alignment with yourself, be good to yourself, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.